freaks, welcome to the Mix Machine Studio. You're watching Tone Quest, and today I want to discuss how you can how you can get uh, a good sound from Ampire in Studio One. Okay, let's do it. First of all, um, I've already made a guitar track here. It's very easy to do, and my setup is just my trusty Fender Telecaster thin line plugged in straight into my interface, which is an Army 800. Um, no fancy schmancy, just went into the instrument input. Okay, okay. First of all, before you record your guitar, you have to check your signal if you are registering a good signal to your DAW. So let's turn this off first, and let's see if I'm getting good signal. Maybe a bit more juice. There you go. All right. So yeah, I think I'm hitting how many dBs here? 9. Maybe let's just there. I think I'm hitting a good sweet spot of around 12 dB, negative 12 dB. Okay, it's very important that you get a good signal coming in that's not too weak and that's not too loud, so that when you actually record your tracks, it's in a good level. When putting in Ampire, you won't overgain and you won't undergain it. Okay, because it really influences the sound of what's coming in the amp simulator Ampere. So I'm using a Telecaster because these have single coils, and single coils are really better when you're recording straight into your DAW or just through the interface. I found that humbuckers, every time I use my Gibson SG, they tend to get too muddy. Even if I want a good rock sound, I still use single coils because they're just more clear when you're recording it straight into your DAW. But don't get me wrong, I don't record using Ampere. I record sometimes using Ampere, and that's my recording amp right there. I also have another recording amp here, just below it. Let me just let you check out the setup. Yeah, that's my vintage 1961 Gibson amp, and that's my other recording amp, which is a PV Classic 20. Very reliable guitar amp. Okay, can I just set this up better? Alright, there you go. Alright, so yeah, let's start. I think the best way to start is getting the input ready. That's good. And then after that, you can put in your Ampere. Alright. Okay, by default, Ampire will default to an MCM 800. An MCM 800 is a Marshall sounding amp. Okay? So the thing is, when you're using Ampire, you have to know the models of the amplifiers that they're using right here. And I will explain the characteristics of each amp even before I make a sound, so that you'd know what to choose immediately. Right? For now, it's MCM 800. That's a Marshall JCM 800. Okay, what are the other choices? Are the dual amplifier, which is a Mesa Boogie dual rectifier. Okay, next one is a VC30. That's a Vox AC30. Next one is a black face twin. That's a Fender twin reverb. Black face meaning 50s. And amp SVT, that's your bass amp. Okay, let's go through the amps very quickly. MCM 800 will give you a semi-high gain amp sound that's very pronounced on the mid-range. Okay, let's hear how it sounds right here. See, even produces a lot of gain. Okay, I'm gonna record this so you can Okay. Very gainy. Very, very gainy. A lot of mid-range. Let's play that back. Well, does it sound like a Marshall? A little bit. I had a Marshall. I had a few Marshalls in my lifetime, and it's it captures the character, but not really how a Marshall tube amp would sound inside your studio, right? And I don't think any amp sim will capture that. It's just physically impossible. So anyway, yeah, that's the Marshall sound. The next one, you can manipulate the gain, of course. Master and preamp volume, that dictates the distortion. So if you want a cleaner sound, just lower the preamp and increase the master. That's a clean sound. It's a Marshall type clean sound. Okay, let's increase the preamp more. So remember that. Okay, again, let's just record this. Record this bit here. Okay. Okay, so that's a Marshall clean sound. And you can manipulate the EQ right here. Okay, I don't have to go through what the EQ does. Its presence is more of the top of the treble. It's more on the 10K above response, or the frequency is above 10K. Bass is, you guessed it, the low end. Mid is the mid range, and treble is the high end, or the high frequency. Okay, so yes, you have to manipulate the EQ a lot using Ampire, when you're using Ampire, because it really doesn't the EQ responses doesn't really do it for me. So this doesn't respond like an amp, if you in my opinion. But I'll help you to get through this, how we get a good sound out of it. Okay, the next one is the dual amplifier. This is a copy of the Mesa Boogie dual rectifier, and let's hear how it sounds, no? Yeah. By default, they're always on high gain by default. Okay, this one is the dual rectifier. It's kind of gated. I'm experiencing some clicks and pops because my sample rate, my buffer size is low, so I don't get too much latency. I'm using very, very old technology right here, but I love the ARM-E interface. So yeah, how we can, this one has a very scooped sound, unlike the Marshall with a very mid-range sound. This one has a scooped sound, meaning the mid-range here is kind of scooped out to get a good metal tone, because this one is used all the time for metal. Oh, I forgot to mention also that the Marshall is usually used for classic rock and roots music. This one is more modern. This will fit that Paramore-ish or early 2000 to 2010 sound. This is it. The Marshall will give you a more 70s to 80s kind of vibe. Okay, so remember that. How do we get a clean tone out of this? Easy. There's the raw and modern. There's 3 switches right here that you can pick from. Okay, the default is the modern sound, and that's what we did earlier. Now let's go to raw, which is a more classic sounding, Mesa Boogie style. Okay, kulob na kulob. It just sounds so, um, I don't know, so muddy. It sounds so muddy. It's a problem with amp sims. Off the bat, they really sound muddy. Okay, how do we get rid of that distortion? Very easy. There's a gain knob here. You take down and you turn up the master. And all of a sudden, oops, sorry. Not here, not here, not here, not here. Here. Get the gain knob and get the master up. There. But even then, you can still hear that it's really, it's still, you know, still a lot of gain even though you put down the gain knob. Okay. Oops, I forgot to record that. Let's just repeat that again on recording. This one is the clean version of the Mesa Boogie type. So, well, still not so clean, right? Diba? Okay, so good for modern rock. Later, let's get some good tones out of that, how we can tailor that. Marshall is good for classic rock. And then the next one would be the Vox AC30. So the Vox AC30, this one is a jangly, throaty kind of guitar amp sound. Okay, the Beatles used a lot, used to record with this. Okay, let's record some passes just by the default setting. All right, cool. By default, it sounds good already, and you can adjust, make it cleaner by just pushing down the volume and go. Again, let's record that. Sounds pretty good so far. I'm liking this. I'm liking this Vox VC30 amp. Okay, that's jangly. Just a mid-range, a subtle mid-range throat. This one's really good for alternative music, for doing that overdriven chords. Okay, and let's discuss more about how we can use that later in our real-world applications. Next, of course, is the Black Face Twin, the Fender Clean sound. Let's see how it sounds right here. Okay. With a reverb. Nice. Alright, does it sound like a Fender? Not really. I've dealt with a lot of Fenders, and this lacks a sparkle to it. Even on that mid setting, a Fender will definitely have a better sparkle and a better low end to it, a more complex low end. So, but the blackface character, as you can hear, is kind of scooped as well. Mid range is not so apparent. That's the sound of Fender. Actually, Fender has a scooped sound, great for single coils, very clear. But as you can hear, it's not that clear, really, in my opinion. All right, okay. So yeah, let's okay. So the next one is the amp SVT, which is a bass amp, and actually we can actually the Ampeg SVT is a classic. It's one of the best sounding bass amps in ever made. Okay, so yeah, we can also use pedals after the fact of using the no, the amp simulators, the amp heads. Okay, what more do you have to know? Cabinets. Okay, after selecting your amp, you select your cabinets, and these things they really have an effect on the overall sound. Okay, so for example, you go for Marshall, and then you go for a Vox 2x12 cabinet. It's gonna sound really different than using the default cabinet of the 4x12 M65. I'm sure the M65, this one I think will um, mimics the vintage 30s. All right, so let's try to record that. M65 cabinet, Marshall. Okay, let's change that cabinet to the Vox VC30 cabinet. Okay. Which is fun. It's fun, you know. I can really just go here, play it, and just change the characters. Diba? So after that, you can use any type of cabinet you want. Okay, so yeah, the cabinets really does a lot for the sound. I always record with a 1x12 American because all of these sound super muddy, like super duper muddy. And the 1x12 American at least really punches through, and by itself okay, so here's an example of why this doesn't sound like a real Marshall. A real Marshall will cut your head off when you increase the presence. I always, every time when I use my Marshall, the presence is always down. It's always down. It's always down. But here, even if you turn up your presence, it's not cutting my head off. And if you have experience with Marshalls, this setting will cut your head off already. And I'm using a 1x12 cabinet, which is one of the brightest. If you use a 1x12 there's no 1x12 British. Okay. So yeah, so you really have to be mindful that this doesn't really simulate an amp. It's just an approximation, but not really. I don't think it simulates the sound of a Marshall too well, but it's still very useful. Don't get me wrong. Okay, so how do we get good amp tones with that knowledge? So let's say we are recording. What's new genres? EDM. I don't know. I'm so old school. Okay, I'm gonna load in the Mix Machine Real Drums pack. Haha. Okay, the Mix Machine Real Drums pack is fantastic because this is real recorded drums by us. Let's put in a vintage style funk groove, vintage kit, funk shuffle. All right, let's put it here. Yeah. Okay. Just mute this for a while. Okay. And let's listen to this. All right. So let's say we want to record something on that beat. Oops. Why doesn't this snap on properly, you know? Okay, it's weird. Okay. Oops. Let's just move this properly. All right. Okay, so this is 28 bars. Okay, 28 bars. Yeah, this is 28 bars. And let's see how we can record a good guitar sound out of this. Okay. I'll just add another guitar track. Okay. Okay. Let's put Ampire here. Personas, Ampire. Alright. First, kind of groovy. The track is kind of groovy, right? Right. So what we can do is get a sound that's medyo funky and that would match this beat. First of all, don't use the Marshall. Too high gain. It doesn't give a good clean tone, especially the dual amplifier, not so much. Now your choices are the VC30 or the Fender Blackface Twin. So now your choices are now in half, so you can determine which kind of amp you can use. Okay, medyo clean VC30, really clean is the Blackface Twin. So I want a medyo clean lang. I don't want super clean. I don't really record super clean. And as you can see, I'm gonna boost the treble a bit and cut the bass. Why? Because amp sims are really sound dull, and I go to a brilliant channel. You can actually use this normal, brilliant. I'll just go for brilliant and get the volume down a bit. Okay, I'm using brilliant volume. Yeah. All right. See how this sounds? There. All right. Okay. So first, think about what you want to record. Don't just go and record. So I want to do a funk groove with I'm gonna use that funk groove and play along with this track. Oh, turn that off right there. All right, ready. Let's put in that looping thing. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. See? So yeah, you gotta time it well, of course. And after recording, now you can manipulate the sound of Ampire, whatever you want. And then you can duplicate that and just go from there. Okay, so that was kind of dirty, but let's say I want to add another guitar that's cleaner, you know. Let's add another guitar that's cleaner. Two ways to do it. One, just duplicate this track, and copy paste it, put it there, and add Ampire. And instead of using the VC30, get the blackface twin. Let's go to channel 1. So there's no bring the bass down, bring the mid down, and increase the treble. And let's see how this sounds. Okay, again, more volume. There, bright switch. The bright switch will actually make it sound more like a Fender. Alright. Okay, so I'd rather record a new track so it doesn't sound exactly the same, because it's not actually doing a double. It's actually doing the same sound and doesn't really sit well with what I wanna achieve. So this one, let's just record a new one. 2, 3. Alright. So I didn't even engage the amp sim anymore because it's clean. There. Let's pan this a bit here, a bit here. Alright. There. So nice. Okay, so now we have a nice loop and we can play around with. Okay, what's next? How about we build a bass track before going into the lead track? Let's get another. Let's put bass. The great thing about Studio One is that we can actually simulate bass just using the guitar. Okay, let's put Ampire again there. Get amp SVT. Let's just let's maybe increase a bit more volume. Alright. And then let's play the same chords you did, but let's just use single notes. And I'll show you how we can simulate the bass. 6, 7, 8. There. Now I like that one. So yeah, let's use that. Okay, so before it becomes a bass sound, of course it's not a bass sound, it's a guitar sound. How do we convert it to bass sound? Just right click and transpose. Alright, transpose -12. -12 or octave down. Clipping. Okay, so now we can manipulate that bass, right? See? There's a lot of gain that's really super nice when you manipulate that bass. Okay, using Ampeg SVT, it's very mid-rangey. If you want to take out the mid, it's okay. Okay, let's just rewind that. Cool. right? So now you have a bass sound and guitar sounds. Okay, let's just let's see how these things sound like together. Okay. See, very nice, very nice, very nice. Okay, now here's the tricky part. Okay, so we have rhythm, we have bass, and now we need lead. Let's say you want to have that lead tone, right? Okay, so in order to get the lead tone, I never ever use sorry, guitar lead. Okay, when I do lead, I rarely use the amp sim, as in rarely use it. So this is gonna be kind of hard for me because I know I'm not an amp sim user when it comes to lead, but let's try. Okay, first of all, my favorite amp here is the VC30, and let's go to Brilliant so we can get a good bright sound. Let's test how that sounds like. Okay, cool. If you okay, cool, but it lacks a bit of that lead sound, right? It's too clean. Okay, how do we get it to sound leady? Leady. Okay, first, what I do is engage an overdrive right here. Oh, by the way, you can also manipulate the mic placements. I don't even use it because it doesn't sound like you're manipulating mic placements in real time. Okay, so let's not confuse ourselves. But you know, you can do some stuff with it. Sige na nga, let's manipulate the mic placements. Yan, unlock it so you can really I'll use this one. Overheads. A lot better, a lot better, a lot better. Delay compensation. There's polarity also. You can polarity switch. So if you use two mics, don't have to worry about the polarity. No, I'll just use the mic C. Now, sounds a lot better than just the default. Okay, fine, let's just use it. Okay, now effects. First of all, let's try the tube screamer. How do you drive a an amp? When you're driving an amp sim, be very sparing when you're using distortion, because it could get really noisy and could get really raunchy. Okay, so I don't think that the tube screamer is for this. I don't think it's nice for what I want to do. It's a lot here. Let's try a Proco Rat. A Proco Rat is one of those pedals that's super duper famous. Here it's called it's like a fuzz and a distortion in one. Let's filter out some things. No, nope, nope, nope. Not gonna do that. How about a fuzz? Yeah. Oh, that's beefy. I like this. I like this tone. I'm a real fan of fuzzes. My pedal board has a fuzz on it. And yeah, let's just use this fuzz. And I always put a delay in the back. Okay, kinda too much fuzz. Kinda too much fuzz. Bawas tayong konti. Alright. Ayos lang, ayos lang. Come on. Let's do some more tweaking, more tweaking. Okay, let's fix this delay a bit. Too much. Feedback is too much. Mix is too much. Okay. Yeah, this one I like. It's very classic because I really love the sounds of yesteryear. Okay, let's push down some bass. Okay, the problem with fuzz, it's really slow. This attack is so slow, so you have to compensate with your playing. But it's great for single notes. Okay, now let's make a melody. Okay, so we can see what we can do. Okay. All right, let's make a melody out of this. Let's just check the rhythm again. Okay, let's record something like that, okay? And let's come in at the second bar. 2, 3, and 1, 2. Okay, so you can riff using that, and let's see how that lead tone sounds. Okay, if you solo this out, okay, let's just solo this out, okay? If you solo this out, it doesn't really sound good on its own because it's fuzz. Fuzz is so thick. It's so sticky. But if you play it with the music, fuzz really sounds good. So now we can put some additives. Another. Okay, let's just duplicate the track. Okay, never mind. Let's delete that. Lead 2 will consist of a different sound. How about we increase, let's take this out and put an overdrive on it. Fuzz is different with overdrive. Fuzz gives you thick, transistorized clipping, while overdrive will give you a smooth saturation that is reminiscent of cranking a tube amp. Okay, so this one is Tube Screamer. I think this is good for the rhythm. Okay, too much mid-range. Too much mid-range for this. We can use maybe... let's use this. Turn this off, turn this on. See? Just like a pedal. That one. This sounds so... You think it sounds bad because... But this will actually stick out in the mix. Right? Okay. Lead 2, let's do some extra sounds. 1, 2. I love playing slide. It's one of my secret weapons in my guitar playing, and a lot of people don't know how to play slide. So it's one of the best effects that you're gonna have. It's really nice to have. Just okay. So we can do a nice duplicate on this one. Right. So this one, let's pan this to the left. Maybe further. Okay. Check on Ampire. Maybe let's put something like a reverb on it. Reverb. Yeah. Okay. Maybe, yeah. So this is the order of things that you need to consider. First, overdrives are supposed to be always at the front. And why are you there? Modulation is in the middle, and the delay and reverb will be at the back. Okay, this one just the preamp and post amp position, meaning if you're here, you're before the preamp. If you're here, you're after the preamp. So you want all your modulation and your delay to be after the preamp, and you want all your overdrive and filters to be before the preamp, so it hits your preamp. Okay, and another thing on the mic placements, I chose this, the XY, because this is how I mic my cabinets all the time. When I mic my cabinet, I always use this. Okay, sometimes I'll use a dynamic right on the center, but I rarely use that right now. Always XY stereo, and it really sounds accurate when it picking it up using the mic placement. But when you're picking up, it almost sounds like what you hear with your ears in the room. Okay, I'll make a video out of that also. Proper guitar mic placements. Okay, I know this video is kind of long, but believe me, this will really benefit those who don't know how to use amp sims, and those who are, just kind of fiddling around with the amp sim and getting the right tone. And this is a good process into getting a good tone when you're using amp sims. All right, what else? Okay, so let's just check what kind of sound we did. Okay, so yeah, this is good for what I want to do with this beat, and there's a lot of more things you can do with Ampire. There are tricks that can be done here. You can actually put your fuzz at the back of the preamp, and it will sound super weird. I kind of like it. This is a chorus, Boss CH1 chorus, very very popular. I'm not a chorus guy too much, so I don't use it. But if you want to know how it sounds, this is how it sounds. Doubling. If you want to get that 80s kind of vibe, that's a good sound to work around with. Okay, so what if I want to do some modern rock? Okay, let's we can go a bit modern by using a modern kit. Modern kits are cool if you want to go modern. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 7, 8. Let's say just go 8 bars. Okay, we wanna get a modern sound. Let's go for the bass first. SVT, set it later. And then and let's just record 5, 6. Oops. And then arm it. Okay, can we just repeat that? There you go. Okay, and ready. Oops. Boom, boom, boom. Again. Okay, let's see how that sounds like. Okay. And manipulate the bass. Okay, so you want to go crazy with, let's say you want to go crazy with effects, and you want to make it sound a bit more shoegazy or oops. Let's say you want to make it sound a bit more shoegazy, a bit more modern, really really beefed up distortion. Oops, we'll get again. Oh. Again, clipping. just make that exact and duplicate. Oops. And right, so very modern, modern rock, and we can not do a very shoegazy type thing over here. Some reverb. Let's put the bright switch on. So, and 3, 4, 1, 2. Okay, so you don't have to play with all that. Just have to do a duplicate here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and go. And then you can duplicate this and actually make a track that's super duper cheesy. Sound. So yeah, that's how you get some good sounds out of Ampire. So the pointers in considering, okay, if you want to quickly get a good sound, first consider all the amp types. Marshall for the classic sound, classic rock, and classic maybe blues. You have your blues or blues rock. You get your dual amplifier for that heavy, distorted, scooped, modern sound. You get your VC30, which is a jangly, great for rhythm guitar, a little driven or a little distorted rhythm guitar. The Blackface Twin for that clean, super duper clean rhythm guitar, and also it really takes the virtual pedals well. Cabinets, I'd choose the 1x12 American for all my guitar recordings. You can experiment what you want. And for the bass, I choose the 8x10 SVT if you're going for the bass. Okay? For the miking, I always go for mic C because just lock this out. I always go for mic C because that's how I mic my guitar cabinet. Okay? Alright guys, I hope you guys learned something today on how to use Ampire in Studio One 5. And there's more to it than just selecting an amp. You can also EQ using an external EQ and put some delay effects using an external delay with the delay using Studio One, the analog delay. I love how that analog delay sounds. And yeah, so if you learned something today, please subscribe, please like this this video. Thank you so much guys. Marco Roboto out. You are at the Mix Machine Studio.